you maintain all your rights just as you would, whether it's an e-book or print-on-demand book, you still maintain all your rights.
So you're going to take my manuscript. Okay, I'll have to, I imagine, submit it in some digital form. And then what do you do with it?
Well, in an e-book form, we convert it and then format it digitally to all the different e-reader types that all over the world. So whether somebody has, the end user has a Sony reader or a Kobo up in Canada or a Kindle or a Nook, we format it to fit whatever you're going to read it on, and you can download it to that device. And statistically, it is shown that even though that e-book could be read on several different devices, people tend to shop where they got their device from. So if they're a Kindle owner, they'll go to Amazon. If they're a Nook owner, they'll go and shop in Barnes & Noble.
Because they make it so easy for you.
Exactly.
And that's a clever marketing ploy right there. So suppose, okay, you've done this for me. I'm with you for a year or two, and I'm discovered. From my mouth to God's ears.
Well, we hope that's in 3 months.
But I'm discovered, and somebody wants to make a movie out of my book.
That's fine. You still maintain the rights.
Okay.
You can take your book down anytime you wish. You have complete control over the process of how its availability.
Now, do you offer any kinds of services? Like, for instance, somebody has a manuscript. A lot of people who come up with a manuscript are not professional writers, so the proofreading and the line editing and all the rest of it isn't really the best. Do you offer those services?
We do as an ancillary service. I mean, that's, we offer it for those who want it. Many authors will choose to go out and have their work edited before they submit it. I would have to say probably one of the biggest issues that we come across is people submit a manuscript and 2 days later we get an email. Oh, wait a minute, I want to change something, and it's already been done. And so, and people don't understand. We just tell them, is this the manuscript that you want to submit? Has it been proofread? It happens, and I would just, anybody who's watching, that's really something they really should be mindful of, is really go over it, review it as many times as you can. Have other people look at your manuscript before you submit it, because once it goes into publication, then we have to start the process all over again.
Yeah, and
anything can be fixed, anything can be changed,
but at a price.
Well, sometimes if it's something small, we can. Sometimes if it's not too late, we can, depending on what it is, we can do the fix. But once it goes out into worldwide distribution to over 100,000 different locations, that's where the work is involved.
Well, the reason why I asked this question was because you're in competition with a lot of different companies. I mean, this has become so popular. I wrote my books originally in the 90s, and the person I took a writing course because I'm not a professional writer, and the person who I was writing with told me, she said, these are pretty good, you could get them published, but it's going to take you forever. So I put them aside because forever is not in my vocabulary. And
it's a long time, too.
And that was what Vanity Press was the only way you could publish it. And so then I guess in the early to mid 2000s, a friend of mine published with iUniverse, and when she self-published, I got all excited because I thought, oh, let me find out about this, and I asked her, is it Vanity Press? And she explained the whole thing to me, and I went online, and I couldn't believe the number of companies that will let you print on demand, ebook, self-publish, and all of the services. And I do a workshop with a friend of mine, Karen Bonet, on So You Want to Write a Book, and we talk about self-publishing. And boy, oh boy, we've really investigated the companies and the things that you can actually do with companies. It's amazing, because, and it's to the point that you make, that you have so much control. And I love that idea that you have control. Well,
another key thing is having communication with who's doing your work. Many of these companies, they're you can't get them on the phone. It takes a week to respond to an email. I mean, historically, just to give you the background of my company, is it really came out of the 1980s as a graphic design company. And then when the internet became invented, if you will, and website work needed to be done, we segued into that, the digital aspect of things. We became Apple developers and Microsoft solution providers. So we had the digital technology already in hand when ebooks arrived. This was old hat for us, is to format files and do conversions and things. This was easy. And we already had a relationship with people like Apple. And so it was just easy to segue into the publishing industry. And we took a look around. We said, what's not working for authors with other services? What's the downsides? What are the faults? Okay, we'll analyze those, and what's working well? What do people want? And we'll focus on those, and to eliminate the negative, accentuate the positive, and go forward from there. And I must say, we've been very blessed. We get a lot of our business is word-of-mouth referral from satisfied customers, and just digital marketing through things like Twitter and Facebook and things. It's worked tremendously well for us.
So the difference between your company and the others is the distribution, yes?
Yes.
Would you explain that?
We're rated as the world's largest distributor of ebooks. We put out your book to over 100,000 locations, which includes the online booksellers that you would normally.
So you get on Amazon through
Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Sony and Apple and Kobo and Diesel and all the the big ones, plus a whole slew of small ones. And in addition to that, it's also schools, libraries, colleges, universities, which is a big market for books.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're in their catalog, you have a lot more exposure. My book, I just got an email yesterday. It's being sold in Hungary at a Christian online bookstore. I don't know how that happened. It happened.
Okay. Marketing, though. Mm-hmm. You don't market.
We don't market authors' books. No, my job is to market the company, and as we're doing here today, speak about the company. But we can talk about marketing. And the authors. We do help the authors who, our clients, when they subscribe to our service, they are given I think it's 26 or 27-point booklet.
Wow.
And we just tell them, and I tell them all the time, if you follow these instructions, if you do it step by step, you will have success. People who don't have success, I ask them, well, did you follow the steps? And usually the answer is, well, not yet. I said, well, yet is now. I said, get started on it and get moving, and you'll have success. And it's, we've had several authors hit the bestseller list.
Okay. That's impressive. So the thing that I'm interested in is, how are you different from Amazon? Because Amazon will distribute, you're on their catalog. They don't distribute to anybody else. That's one way you're different.
Right.
But they actually, there's, like for instance, there's Kindle Select, which I believe you have to offer your book for free for a certain number of days. And supposedly people make a lot of sales that way. Does your company plan to do any kinds of promotions like that?
Not at this time. We don't really see the need for it, and as you said, something like those programs, it really limits the author in distribution availability. As I said earlier, 125 million people in India alone that speak English. If they want to buy the book, if they don't have access to that, is it available to them? Asia, Western Europe, South America. It's a big world now. It's not just it's beyond those bounds. And I don't like to see whether people use our services or not. It's irrelevant. I just don't like to see anybody have to have limitations on their work of availability.
No, well, you certainly seem to have a worldwide availability. In fact, I was in Nairobi, Kenya, a couple of years ago, and I went into a bookstore. I always go into bookstores wherever I am. And, of course, they had all of the American bestsellers, or I should say all of the books that are on the American bestseller list. And I wanted to buy The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo because I hadn't read it yet, and they were out of it. And I thought that was interesting because Nairobi is a very international city. I mean, yes, they speak English because of their history with Britain, but many, many languages are spoken there, and there is a huge Indian population in Nairobi. In fact, they've pretty much moved into the business community and taken over a lot of things. So to go to Nairobi, Africa, which to me is like the end of the earth almost, and to see books that sell in America in that bookstore was amazing to me. But these, of course, I'm sure are distributed from the publisher because they were, I didn't notice at all whether or not they had any facility there to get an ebook. I guess not. You have to do the ebooks through catalogs.
Yeah, through online service.
Yeah. I mean, even if you go into a Barnes & Noble's where they're selling a Nook, you have to take your Nook and hook it up to the
and download
Nook
it to
store.
your device.
Yeah, and So that's an interesting aspect of it as well. What about putting pictures in an ebook?
Oh, that's done all the time. We do that. We do children's books. The only difference that people don't realize with ebooks work a little bit differently than print books. Some things won't work. Like sometimes if you have a fancy border around the page, that won't format over, it won't convert. The text has to be above or below a picture. It can't be on a picture in most instances, unless it's part of the picture originally. There's some, but it all works. We've done some children's books, and the authors are just thrilled with the results. And it was interesting. I was on a flight not long ago, and a mom pulls out her tablet out of her backpack, and she could have had 10,000 children's books in that one thing, rather than carrying all those kids' books around. And the kids were thrilled with it, so they were quite happy.
Which brings me to a funny story. When I taught in high school, I taught in a girls' high school for a while, and the girls would come in with these backpacks with their textbooks in it, and the smaller girls, I was always afraid that they would fall backwards.
Well, there's been studies on that causes scoliosis with kids.
Well, I used to say to them, girls, I'm going to tell you what careers are going to be the best for you, and I would say chiropractic, because all of you are going to have bad backs.